Hello, today I'm going to be narrating an episode from the book Famous in Love by Emma Cho. Famous in Love is an episodic series that follows the life of K pop idols. Dating a K pop idol is a sweet hell. They're always away on tour, busy with schedules, having no privacy, and far too many ridiculous scandals. But they're also irresistible. Take a peek into their lives as they manage insane fame, busy schedules, constant travel, zero personal space, and most importantly, love. Episode 1, Hershey's Kisses. Park Hanuel was jet lagged and thoroughly done with the day. He had flown over 20 hours from Incheon to Los Angeles, spent an unearthly time at immigration, and fought through a horde of screaming fans who had no concept of the phrase personal space. He loved being a K idol, but some days it was a real pain in the ass. Hyung, stop it. He snapped at his manager who was hovering nearby. After checking into their hotel, he had somehow managed to convince his manager to let him visit a convenience store nearby. In disguise, of course. All he wanted was to buy a few dozen packs of Doritos and hot Cheetos and settle down in his room with a crappy movie playing on the TV. A normal night. The paparazzi might spot us. Hurry up, his manager said in hushed tones. When Hanuel continued to stroll the neon-lit aisles leisurely, he gave an impatient grunt and went outside to keep an eye out for any disturbance. Breathing a sigh of relief, Hanuel grabbed a basket and started throwing assorted colorful snacks in it. Rising on his toes, he reached for the Cheerios kept on the high shelf. Completely engrossed and taken off his mental list of snacks, he didn't see a cart come barreling down the aisle and it crashed right into him. His basket and cap flew away as he landed on his butt in aisle 3. Hurriedly, he reached for his cap but couldn't find it as a heavy American voice started apologizing profusely next to him. He looked up to see a young, disheveled man attached to the death cart. The man offered him his hand, keeping up his string of apologies. Are you okay? I'm such a klutz. I lost control of the cart, and one of its wheels is broken, and I should have. The man trailed off when he saw his victim's face. Sharp, square jaw, tawny eyes, porcelain skin, and carefully unkempt hair. Attractive didn't begin to cover it. The handsome man seemed uncomfortable with this scrutiny as he looked around for something desperately. The American spotted his cap under the shelves and picked it up and handed it to him. Visibly relieved, the man pulled the cap down as far as it would go. I'm Lucas, he said quickly, desperate to keep him around. Hanuel looked at the man carefully, but there was no trace of recognition on his face. He did not know who Park Hanuel was. I'm Heaven, Hanuel said, giving the literal English translation to his name and extending his hand. I bet you are, Lucas thought secretly as they shook hands and flushed a delicate pink. Are you okay? I'm really sorry, he said again. Oh, yeah, it's not a biggie. Don't worry about it, Hanuel said as he looked at him carefully for the first time. Brown hair, green eyes, and a sweet chubby face made Lucas appear temptingly harmless, like a straight-laced sitcom boyfriend. Big party tonight? Lucas gestured to the spilled contents of the basket that were taking up almost the entire width of the aisle. No, I'm just a pig, Hanuel replied, inciting a delightful laugh from Lucas. Fair enough. Do you live around here? Lucas asked as he helped Hanuel put the snacks back in the basket. No, I'm just visiting. Do you? Yeah, right, around the corner. Lucas looked up from the packet of tackies to see Hanuel looking at him with disturbingly intimate eyes. Hanuel had the strangest urge to run his hands through Lucas' thick hair. On second thought, I might need help finishing these snacks, he said slowly. You could put them back on the shelf, Lucas replied, immediately wanting to tape his mouth shut. Oh no, I couldn't. That would be so disrespectful to the snacks. We take our snacks very seriously in Korea. Haniel mock frowned, still holding his gaze. Lucas bit his lower lip, tempted. Well, I wouldn't want to disrespect the snacks, you know. Or you? Haniel could think of about 50 ways he would let him disrespect him. But he just cleared his throat and said, "Grab your favorites and we can get out of here." He looked through the glass wall to see his manager still keeping watch on the entrance. He had to hurry before he returned. He stopped at an employee in a blue vest and asked, "Is there a back exit to this place?" Least bothered about his suspicious request, the employee carelessly pointed it out and walked away. Lucas jogged up to him from the neighboring aisle, slightly breathless with the exhilaration of it all. "Let's go," he said, swinging the spilling basket in front of him. They paid at the counter, Haniel pulling up his mask on to throw off the cashier who had a K-pop boy band's photo card stuck in his phone cover. Lucas threw a glance at him and noticed the mask. Strange, but a lot of Koreans did wear masks on the regular, he reasoned. As he was about to head to the exit, Haniel grabbed his hand and pulled him to the back door. Too stunned to speak and too giddy to protest, he let him. "Where should we go?" Haniel asked once they were safely outside. "The park?" Lucas suggested. He hadn't meant to reveal his favorite place in the city, but he really hoped this beautiful stranger liked parks. "I love it. Let's go." Once they were settled under an obscure tree hidden from the public eye, Haniel had made sure. They dumped out all the snacks and ripped open several of the packets. "So, Heaven, that's an unusual name." Lucas ventured slowly, crunching on some Takis. "It's actually Haniel, which is Korean for heaven, so technically I didn't lie," Haniel said sleepishly. Haniel, Lucas cocked his head to the side, a question in his eyes. Shit, had he given away his identity? Haniel took a sip of his coke to fill in the silence, gulping forcefully. "That's a pretty name," Lucas finally said, smiling. "So, Haniel, what do you do?" Not wanting to lie again, Haniel said, "I'm a musician." "Oh, anything I might have heard of?" "I doubt," Haniel laughed. "What do you do?" "I develop video games," Lucas said, and Haniel's eyes widened. "Before you get too excited, to be accurate, I developed those little loopholes in games that don't really count for anything. Like the secret tubes in Mario Brothers that led you to a shit ton of coins." Haniel opened his mouth excitedly, but Lucas held up a finger. "No, I did not make the tubes in Mario." Haniel laughed and lightly smacked his arm. "That's still a really cool job. I love those pointless loopholes," he said. "Well, pointless does describe most of what I do," Lucas teased. "No, that's not what I..." Haniel saw his cheeky grin and said warmly, "This right here isn't pointless." Lucas offered him a Hershey's kiss and asked, "Do you want to go back to my place to have some more non-pointless conversations?" "Are you literally offering candy to a stranger to get them to come back to your place?" "Depends. Is it working?" Haniel slowly leaned in, waiting to see if Lucas would back away, and pressed a soft kiss on his lips. "I'd much rather have this kiss," he murmured against his lips. The two boys burst into laughter as they packed up the snacks. Chattering the entire way back, they joked, kissed, and told each other things about themselves. "I love cheese," said Haniel, "but there is such a thing as too much cheese." "I'm a sweets man myself," replied Lucas. "Hence the kisses. And here I thought you were just being clever. I like spicy food more, though." At the risk of sounding like a basic white boy, instant ramen is my religion. As a non-white boy, I support your religion. I prefer movies, Lucas offered. "I prefer books," said Haniel, eliciting a surprised look from Lucas. "Well, really, I prefer video games, but if you play video games for over 10 hours, you are a nerd. If you watch movies for over 10 hours, you're a lover of cinema. So technically, you like staring at screens." Completely lost in this tall, adorable geek, Haniel didn't realize that they were walking past the same store. Suddenly they were accosted by the masked man in a hoodie. "Where did you go?" he hissed, and Haniel realized it was his manager, who somehow managed to look pissed even with the most of his face hidden. "I was just taking a walk," he hissed back. "Who's this?" the manager asked, eyeing Lucas. Not waiting for a response, he added, "We need to hurry. I spotted a group of paps just around the corner." "I'm sorry, what's going on?" Lucas looked from one to the other. "What's paps?" I said I'm a musician, but you probably haven't heard of me," Haniel said slowly. "Yes. Well, some people have definitely heard of me." They spotted a large horde descending down the street with cameras and mics prepped and ready to go. The horde spotted them and loud murmurs passed among them. "How many?" Lucas asked, his eyes wide. "Are your shoelaces nice and tight?" "We need to run." He grabbed Lucas by the hand and they started running the other way, his manager hollering at them in the quickest voice possible. The horde spotted them and quickly followed suit, trying to handle their equipment and take pictures on the run. "My place?" Lucas asked breathlessly, pulling him into a side alley. "Your place." Haniel grinned and held on tighter. To read the entire book, download the Saga Fiction app, now available on Google Play Store and App Store.